here we are on the Jawa website. A couple disclaimers real quickly. For right now, what we're going to be doing is simply reviewing build postings, and I'm going to be giving honest feedback and critique on if it's a good posting or not, what you could do to be more effective. I've been selling PCs obviously for years and years now. My website has only been alive since like September of last year, and before that I was selling PCs with normal build postings like everybody else for years and years. So I have a lot of experience doing this, and it's important that you guys know I'm gonna be giving this disclaimer until everybody knows it. I officially work with Jawa. Like I gave my statement piece on Thursday, I think it was. Yeah, on Thursday, about my relationship with Jawa, and I'm working as an advisor / consultant for them now, and I'm on an hourly rate for when I do work, and that will eventually likely lead to equity ownership in the website, which is a really big deal for me. Super excited about it, but I need everybody to know ahead of time that everything positive I say about Jawa is legitimate, of course, but you have to know that I will have equity ownership in that, and I'm not like trying to sneakily promote something just for my own financial gain. So there's the quick disclaimer. And if you don't know what Jawa is a online marketplace that you're looking at right now that is 100% tailored towards PC flippers, PC gamers, and PC builders. You guys know that I buy a ton of PC hardware from competitive marketplaces like OfferUp, Letgo, Mercari especially, but all of those are just huge online marketplaces. And right now, Jawa is sitting here with beautifully only PC hardware, which you absolutely love to see. And a lot of people are making some pretty good money with PC flipping and whatnot on here, just because of how they have a lot of features that are designed towards our industry, which I'm obviously a big fan of. And that's why I came to join the team, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, let's start reviewing some people's Jawa postings in the community, people that are here on the live stream first, before we review random people. How's that sound? So one of the themes that I've been seeing on Jawa, which I don't know why or how it started. I've never personally liked the idea, but if people want to continue doing this, have at it. A lot of people in Jawa give their builds names. So this is from Deeth the Tech, who's a verified seller, and he calls this the Divorce Lawyer PC with a Ryzen 9 3950X and a 3080 Ti, also 32 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe. He says, have you ever thought, I wonder how much a divorce would cost? Consider this a down payment. If you buy this without permission, be prepared to have high FPS and 1440p and even some 4K titles, and be prepared to sleep on the sofa. So I'm very positive actually, that a lot of young kids think that was a waste. That's money. When you set up your target audience for them, it's always effective, especially towards the older people in our industry. So our industry of PC gaming, PC building is only getting bigger and bigger from younger people, because more and more people just on the gaming side of things are being drawn towards PC gaming versus Xbox and PS5, way more than when I was a kid and farther back, of course, obviously. So when you make like some dad jokes like this, it's actually very effective. So I actually really like it. I think it's worth the real estate here. A couple of these quotes like, darling, it's an AMD system with Thunderbolt. No, I don't like that. I think that's a little bit extra. I really like this though. I think that's very solid, a good, especially for an expensive build, which again, more expensive builds appeal to older audiences for the most part. So I legitimately actually really like this start. Okay, so he has a 5000D case, 7 Unifan Lee and Lee case fans, Asus B550, Ryzen 9 3950X, 3080 Ti Founders Edition, 32 gigabytes of the Royal G. Okay, 1 terabyte. Oh, we also throw a 4 terabyte WD Blue hard drive in there. Okay, I'm not going to be able to, especially for these higher end builds, I'm not going to be able to tell if that build is 100% worth it or not. Judging by the 3950X and 3080 Ti, that's tough. Like, you could definitely build that combo for considerably cheaper than that. But of course, he has 32 gigabytes over 16. He's got a 1 terabyte NVMe and a 4 terabyte HDD in there. Pricing wise, that's going to be really tough. But let's look at these pictures here. Let me get a good gauge at this. So there's no good banger photo. One of the things that we always talk about is getting the hero shot for the photo, and none of these are the hero shot. So the hero shot is, I guess the best thing would be to pull up an example. The hero shot is when the entire PC build is in frame and it's slightly under the PC and it's at a 45-degree angle. Specifically where you can kind of see the 24-pin cable extensions. When you can see that, that's the way that you know that it is turned the amount that you need. So let me find a PC build right here real quickly. Let me give you an example, because we're probably going to be talking about this a lot, because a lot of people need help with their photo taking skills. Like Shauner's really good at the hero shot. Most of K Mariotti's photos are with the hero shot and whatnot, and the hero shot's just something I made up. I don't know if anybody actually calls it that. But let me find a good... All of the photos that I take on the website are hero shots. These are all hero shots right there. Okay, so if we go to this photo right here, this is a hero shot. So you're slightly under the PC, barely, like you barely need to be under it. This one, you could even make the argument to go a little bit lower. You just have that 24-pin cable extension in there. That way they can see that color scheme. But the main thing is that the entire photo or the entire build is visible. I don't like that there's not a single picture that like kind of gives you that viewpoint of this. And another thing I really don't like about the photos, especially for this high of an end of a PC, is it looks really unprofessional when the PC is cropped out of the photo. So the first two photos here, the top here is cropped out. It's not even level. You know, I like what you tried to do with the fake plant. But like, look how the PC is like literally out of the frame. Not a big fan of that. I'm also a way bigger fan of horizontal photos, because these vertical photos, they tend to like kind of skew the PC. Like, look how it almost looks like it's like warping. You can't see the full picture here. And even with this one, it's like, it's horizontal, but it's not like, it's just not all fair critique on the photos. Yeah, thanks. So I don't want to only say negative things about this. I'm just trying to help, because this is this is objectively a really high-end PC. I like what you did with the description here. I can't really comment on the price because I don't have those high of prices off the top of my head, whether that's good price or performance. But honestly, I would say that the majority reason why this build hasn't sold yet, one of the things that Jawa doesn't have yet is you can't see when it was posted. I made that feature request. Hopefully they do that soon. I think that's extremely important. The photos are lacking, and the color scheme that you selected for the photos is really, really bad. So what I would recommend doing to anybody is, if you are using RGB components, instead of showing pictures of rainbow puke with different colors and whatnot for all of them, I would choose one color and then take a photo of every color that you think looks good. So when we go back to my build here, like this one, you can't change the color scheme, obviously, because it's not RGB. Whoops. If we go to this one that we were talking about earlier in the stream, this is another example of the hero shot here. The cable extensions are barely visible, but they are visible. That's how you know it's turned enough. So if I wanted to put this on Jawa, I would take a picture just like this, and then I would take another one with the green RGB, another one with the blue RGB. Instead of setting it to rainbow puke, it just like, it objectively doesn't look good. Like rainbow puke, most people aren't using. This build in particular is mostly a white, gray, and a little bit of a black themed build. Almost any color would look absolutely beautiful in this, but like, look at this. Like, it looks like you got like some ketchup and mustard color over here, and then you have a really nice green and blue color scheme up here, but then the corners of the Lee and Lee fans are rainbow puke as well. There's zero color scheme on this. This is just showcasing all of the colors. And I'm pretty confident that that's the reason why a lot of people post those pictures like this, because I tell people all the time, like, this is what you shouldn't do. You should pick a good color scheme, and then if you have RGB components, show individual pictures of the different colors rather than showing all of the colors in one photo. Does that make sense? Painful with the 10 biddy says, I DM'd you a hero shot. Let's see what Painful's hero shots are looking like these days. There we go. That's a perfect example of a hero shot. Bring that up. There you go. That's a hero shot right there. See how it's, so I didn't explain this. The reason why you want it to be a little under, so he's got the good rotation. You can't really see the cable extensions. I would have liked a little bit more rotation on that, but this is still a hero shot. When you, this concept applies to anything you're taking a photograph of, not just PCs. When you're slightly under the PC, it looks like you're looking up at like this grand masterpiece, and it's like a little psychological mind trick that like just comes natural to photographers, but that's the reason why you do it instead of like straight on. And you definitely don't want to take your pictures, I don't know if Deeth had any, yeah, when you're looking down like this at a PC, it's like you're looking down on something. It's not like it's not an attractive point of view. So I would definitely recommend Deeth get some better pictures, and I would definitely recommend switching up the color scheme to the system that I said. But other than that, I mean, it's solid. It's a good build. You know, it's a good part selection with the 3950X. You got a B550 in there, 32 gigabytes of the Royal Golds. You know, you got the G-Skill 850 watt power supply. Like, you even spent extra money on that SSD. Components wise, it looks pretty solid. Like, I don't mean this as disrespect. I mean this as critique. You're not doing this build justice with these build photos and the RGB selection. You know, like without changing a single thing other than the RGBs and getting a little bit better photos, this thing would look amazing. It would look really good. So this is going to be really tough for people who are joining late, but I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. I guarantee for 99% or possibly 100% of these builds, I'm going to say, I wish you had a hero shot in here. You know, I wish you weren't looking down. It's just not an attractive, when you're looking down on a PC in a photo that's cut off, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look professional. You know, it's just, you're not doing your build justice. But I don't want to say that same thing. I'm definitely not going to explain that concept over and over again. So yeah, I mean, that's going to apply. So I do think it's worth mentioning, because this also applies to Deeth though. Fake plants are good if everything else is good. So Shawner is a really good example of that. We can go to the community builds real quick that we already reviewed. Shawner puts a fake plant in all of them. But what he does is everything else about the photo is good, and then he adds the plant. Where as opposed to Evan's PC that we just posted here, that's not a good photo. That's not an attractive photo. Like, even if you're trying to get the side profile, which I do think that you should include with your build postings, it's like slightly slanted there. It's not in the center of the screen and whatnot. And then when you just throw a fake plant, it almost looks like a meme, where the fake plant, if used correctly, isn't a meme. This fake plant in Shawner's PC serves a very legitimate purpose, and that's to add vibrance and color to the photo. Like, look at that build. It's all black. You know, he does have some color in the background, obviously, because he's a little bit limited on his backdrop options. But that fake plant, like, stands out in that PC, and it actually legitimately adds value to his photo. And that's not a fluke either. This is another one of his photos. You know, he's got just a black and blue PC. Putting that like real poppy green into there really makes a difference. So when you just throw a fake plant in there and not all of the other photo fundamentals are in there, I actually think it lowers the value of those pictures. This is a better side profile just because it's a little bit more lined up and whatnot, but I'm not a big fan of just throwing the plant in there just to throw the plant in there. A lot of people don't understand it does serve a purpose. It's not just a meme. Burger Tax says fake plants have always been a joke to me. Didn't think it was a serious thing. Yeah, it is. It's a very good, it's a very effective photography strategy to add a little bit of vibrance, you know, like especially that Shauner picture that we were just looking at with an all black PC. This would be a very boring photo. You know, you got to add a little bit of green to there sometimes to make things pop. That's why YouTubers do that, because on camera, green, when you're using like dull colors, is really poppy. And why green specifically is really poppy is because most things aren't green. Green is not like a popular color that it's just not, like in general in life, green is not a popular color. Like you could argue grass and whatnot, but like especially in our industry, like PC building and whatnot, most things just aren't green. So it's a really opposite color of everything else we're looking at. Okay, so let's look at the rest of the build, though. This is called, look, he's got a name for it. I mean, I like it, but I am concerned for people that sell at a high volume. I feel like that's going to use, because I see a lot of messages in Discord about, like, what should I name this PC? What should I name it? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want people to waste mental brain power trying to think of names, and that's why I don't do it specifically. But I mean, I am building 1 to 2 PCs every single week and consistently have done that for years now. So like I would personally be wasting way too much mental space to create a name for it. But regardless, it's perfectly fine. I'm not critiquing that. I'm just mentioning that. But yeah, this is a Ryzen 5 3600 with a Zotac 1070. So let's see. He's got a little bit of an intro too. Will always be by your side. That's kind of worthless. Looking for a mid-range PC that won't completely break the bank, that has all the bells and whistles you could ask for. That's not a good intro, because this is 100% not a PC that has all the bells and whistles. You know, bells and whistles go way above and beyond. Like you're using a stock CPU cooler. Like you guys know me, the stock CPU cooler is 100% perfectly fine, especially with a Ryzen 5 3600. Like nobody's debating that. But that is not all the bells and whistles. So when I read that, it's like, are you trying to lie to somebody who's like really uneducated about PCs, or are you just trying to use a sales pitch that you took that's like it's very common for people, like especially in the car industry, to say it's got all the bells and whistles, but usually when they say that, they actually mean it. You know, this PC objectively does not have all the bells and whistles. So not off to a great start with that one. This mid-range PC is perfect for schoolwork like AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Adobe Premiere, compiling code, and so much more. That's also inaccurate. I legitimately already explained the whole Adobe Premiere thing. If somebody is using Adobe Premiere, they 100% should not buy a Ryzen CPU. Intel works way better. So I would immediately just remove that. And for when you're done with schoolwork, it can run any game you throw at it with ease, easily outputs 100 FPS on high with Fortnite, Apex Legends, Warzone, and more on 1080p and high settings. So for more critique of that, I would just change the order of how you say this. Most people that are going to be interested in a PC that looks like this, they want a game, and then they want to know what else it does. I wouldn't start it with it can do schoolwork and AutoCAD, because how many people do you think are using AutoCAD? How many of those people do you think are on the Jawa.gg website looking for a gaming PC? 1, maybe 2. You know, I would switch your intro strategy to appealing to your target audience first with the FPS numbers, and then what else it can do. But okay, so as far as the build goes, the 3600 stock fan 1070, ASRock B450, Crucial P5, love that. Corsair Vengeance RGB, probably got a good deal. The MB320 again, and let's see. So this is the problem with the MB3, the 320L, like I was saying earlier. It does not come with a stock rear fan, and I think that's a huge downfall of this case. Otherwise, it would be meta tier for PC flipping. So I would definitely, like, if you're a PC flipper, you probably have at least a black fan that you can throw in there. But yeah, it's obviously going to look much better if you throw an RGB fan back there as well. But I do like the white cable extensions. This build actually looks better when it's turned off. Some of these like black and white builds just happen to do that, and I would have liked to see the AMD stock cooler rotated. Very interesting that the RAM slots are in the incorrect slots. Are they on every picture? No, that picture they're not. So that picture they're good. This picture they're in 1 and 3. That one's 1 and 3. and this one is 2 and 4. So we're no surprise there. Where the PC is turned off, the RAM is in the incorrect configuration, and when the PC is turned on, it's in the correct configuration. I don't know if a beginner PC gamer that just wants a pre-built PC would pick up on that, but I would definitely change that. He also says very much open to offers and questions can be directed to, maybe that's on Discord. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have to say. I said everything about the photos. I think this intro needs a whole lot of work. I really like how you kept the spec sheet nice, simple, and clean, easy to read and whatnot. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I got for that one. All right, so this is from Bubble Tea Builds, which is Dr. Dilly. Definitely, absolutely hate that. So you have to remember, anybody that's, I mean, that's tough. I'm not your target audience. I would guess that this is not going to help your target audience, but there's a very real chance that it does. So I like, this is just a waste. And if you were looking at like the homepage where you can't see the full title or whatnot, like this is definitely a waste of real estate. Absolutely. But it's definitely worth mentioning that your target audience might find this like amusing or like pleasing, but like anybody over the age of like 20 or so is probably gonna think like, okay, like it kind of gives off like a little bit of a vibe of who you are, and I wouldn't buy from somebody who like puts that in their title of a PC. Okay, here we go. So let's start with the photos because these are on point, man. This is a hero shot, slightly under that graphics card. He's not using cable extensions in this build, and I don't know how intentional this was, but you can't see the lack of cable extensions, at least on that 24 pin, but you can obviously see them on the graphics card. But I'm not going to discredit somebody who didn't tilt it enough because he's not using graphics card. So these are all really nice photos, and wow, I'm really glad we looked at this now, because this is the definition of what I'm talking about. As look at this. So this is, I don't like that he used this as his first photo. I will knock him off some points for that. But look at these next ones. This is the concept I was saying of do one single color and then do multiple pictures of it. Like that's money right there. He's even got the red over here. That's money. This is exactly what I'm talking about for photo taking skills. So yeah, that's solid. And then of course, once you knock out those hero shots, it's important to get whatever extra angles. I think you should always have a side profile shot. Once again, even on my own website, which I no longer have to do like some of these meta best practices for my builds, because you guys know how quickly I sell my builds. But I do think it's important, even for someone like me, to at least post one side profile shot, just so they can get that full picture of what's inside the build. So yeah, he checks off all the boxes for me for the photos, and he even has some artsy ones in here, which I really like. That looks pretty clean. Once again, I don't know how intentional this is, but I wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for that side profile shot that he is using a micro ATX motherboard, one RAM stick out. That's definitely a big yikes. But also again, that micro ATX motherboard in an ATX case. I absolutely hate when people do that, but sometimes it is what it is and you're just trying to get rid of the build. Okay, so let's see what he has to say. So this is already, I have to scroll my mouse down just to get to the component list, which I don't like. Like the first two intros, they were a little bit shorter. I think you want to be a little bit more efficient, but let's see what he has to say. So this is also a 10105 and an RX 6500 XT build. I hope he mentioned something about the PCIe Gen 3, Gen 4 thing. I think that's a very important disclaimer to put, because 10th gen Intel can't do PCIe Gen 4, so you're limiting the performance of the 6500 XT, but we'll see what he does. Up for sale is this beautiful mid-range gaming PC. That's solid. The PC will get your friends to say nice PC. This PC features mostly new and modern parts and features lots of RGB. This PC comes with 5 total ARGB fans that can be controlled through the pre-installed motherboard software. Super important to include that, because if you do my style, where you just post like these colors, people might not, especially if you only do one color, people might not pick up on. You can change this to whatever color you want. So I do like that he included that. That's really good for newbies. This PC also has a funny word printed on the side of the case. Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that. It says cock on there. Wow. This PC is nearly silent and idle and still very quiet and cool, even when gaming. This PC also has a hidden fan underneath the motherboard to help keep the CPU temperatures nice and low. Nobody cares about that. This PC can play many games at 1080p with over 60 FPS. Super important. See the benchmarks in pictures, referring people to look at that. I like it. This PC also has built-in Wi-Fi. That's also really important. So an Ethernet cable is not required. That's so important. I should have said that in the first two. If your PC doesn't have Wi-Fi, you're going to hear about it if you don't offer that, for sure. Because a lot of people that are just jumping into PC gaming, they just assume that all PCs have Wi-Fi, and that's obviously not the case. If you have any questions, oh, so this is, okay, well, this is, I don't like that, yeah, I mean, that could be a whole conversation. I think it should be against the terms of service to sell for somebody else and advertise that you're selling for somebody else, but regardless. Come build a PC from one of Jawa's top sellers. Comes with a Bubble Tees build NFT if interested. Okay, so yeah, the TEM 105 with the 6500 XT. It's just not a good combo with the 10th gen 6500 XT, but we already talked about that. On the RGB CPU cooler, B460 DS3H. I love the DS3H. I do like that Dr. Dilly posted whether the products are new or used. That's very transparent of him. That's a pretty good, solid deal. 240 gigabyte Kingston M.2 SSD. Don't know which one that is. If it's good, probably not. EVGA 550B5. Again, the Cock C1 computer case. Yes, that's the actual name of it. Built-in Wi-Fi. Again, he mentioned that no other accessories or items are included. He provided a benchmarking video for a CPU and GPU combo that is not the same. This is the TEM 100 versus the TEM 105F, but it'll probably be pretty similar. But yeah, I mean, I don't like how much space you wasted. I think this first half was really good. Up to here. And then like a little bit of the performance selling part of it, like 1080p with over 60 FPS, like that, you definitely wanted to include. But putting yourself in the shoes of your potential buyers, like getting your friends to say nice PC, that's actually something that people want to hear. So actually, despite this being the meme PC, it's a pretty good posting except for the pictures. And then all the other like little little stuff that I said about it. Again, with the name, the Alters i7-10700KF RTX 3060 Ti, 30 gigabytes of RAM theme. Okay, so first up, you got to keep the capitalization consistent here. Okay, like use the proper capital T, R, T, B in the title. It's got to look clean, but that might just be an OCD thing. So let's look at the pictures first. I really like these. So this is not only the hero build, but you also have the accessory, which we'll find out later if it goes with it. It probably does, which is really, really cool. There's another perfect hero shot. Perfect minus you left the tempered glass side panel on there. So that's not something that we've discussed yet. For your photos, you always want to take that tempered glass side panel off because of these reflections. They're not awful in this, and I get that you're trying to showcase. I'm not sure what this is. Is this stuck to the tempered glass panel? I'm not sure. That's an awful photo right there. But yeah, it looks like you're trying to showcase something like a decal or something that's on the tempered glass. That would be perfectly fine for one of the photos. That way they know. But for like this banger of a hero shot photo, you got to take off that tempered glass side panel. That way they can clearly see in the PC. You can see like there's definitely like this is a door right here. This white line here is definitely like a door being opened. So that's definitely that's one of the fundamentals, is to always remove that panel. But other than that, these pictures are really, really good. Very happy with those. So the Alters is an ITX gaming PC build inspired and built to be the Fates franchise most beloved duo of characters. I don't even know what I'm reading right now. The purpose of this build is to be the physical representation of anyone's love for these characters and are to spark the interest of any anime-loving newcomers to the franchise. Okay, That's fine. That's fine. I don't know what you're talking about, but that's fine. As an ITX form factor enthusiast, I hope this PC meets the aesthetics of many in all. This you don't need. That's a complete waste. You're not saying anything new here. I like to build PCs that I'd be happy with personally using. That's not needed at all. This PC's running 8 cores, 32 gigabytes, and people that are buying your PC, they don't give a shit. Like, that you only build PCs that you would personally like. They don't care about that. They don't care about you at all. Sell them the PC. Don't sell them you. Sell them you through the work of the PC and the posting and whatnot. Don't sell them like you directly, because nobody cares about that. No offense to you. That's just how it all is. It's ready to run and store AAA games and background side tasks simultaneously. I like that inclusion. As it appears pictured in the listing cover, this PC build will also be coming with a medium-sized displate metal poster. Cool that you mentioned that. Together to be the ultimate complement or starter piece. Yep, I like that. To get a better look at this build, feel free to watch the showcase video down below. I like how it points to that. And then you, oh wow, you actually have a YouTube video. Okay. I'll pause my music. What the f? I'm watching it 2x. Is this commenter guy? Who is this? Who is this? Okay, I don't need to see more. That's amazing. Yeah, that should sell. So, oh, it is commenter? Is commenter a YouTuber? How do I... Why doesn't it show... There we go. Is commenter a YouTuber? Yeah, he's got 9 subscribers on there. That might be the best video I've ever seen from somebody that has 9 subscribers. What in the world is going on here? Okay, so if every build in a perfect world, every build would have a video like that, and he's going to end with the parts list on there. I mean, that shouldn't need any more explanation. That's amazing. Like, that's exactly, if you want to sell a high-end build, I mean, this obviously is going to take a ton of work filming and editing that, but absolutely love it. That's ridiculous. So let's look at the parts list. 10700KF, the MSI Mag Liquid, Z490 on there. 32 gigabytes of RAM, a Sabrent Rocket 1 terabyte, good choice. EVGA RTX 3060, Fantex Eclipse P200A. I'm not a big fan of personally, but some people like it. The Seasonic Focus, okay. The Asia Horse purple extension kit, the Lee & Lee Uni fans, and the V1 Tech stuff. I mean, yeah, that's great. So $1,700, 3060 Ti. All of us are going to have this problem where you're going to see these two things right here, and then you're going to see this, and it looks high. It just looks high. Now, you're getting a ton of value with this PC if you like these, this anime show or book or whatever this series is. You would definitely get a ton of value from that. You're limiting your target audience by a ton of people with this build, especially with your first photo. So you honestly might appeal to more people if you made this your first photo or this one and then showcase that it came with all of this. But if someone like myself is scrolling through Jawa and I see this as the first picture, I'm 100% not clicking on it because I have no idea what any of this stuff is. But if I see this photo, this is just a nice PC, and then I click on it, and then I happen to see that it comes with all this stuff, then I'm at least on your page considering, I don't know what this anime is, maybe it's still a good enough PC for me to look at, you know? But like I said, if I'm seeing this right away, I'm like, dude, I am not clicking on that. Like, no way. So that would probably be, honestly, this was going to be a tough one because you did a lot of things right. I think you wasted a lot of space in here with the things that I talked about, especially right here specifically. I don't think anybody cares or needs to know that. This whole thing could definitely be a little bit tighter. And then I would honestly put this section where you tell people, this is also important. I think you should do this right away. where you're directing people to that video, I would put as high up as you think that you can possibly do. Because think about what my flow is. I have to go through all of this information about this anime, and then the concept of how this build is for people that like the anime. I don't need that explanation. Like, I can look at the picture and tell you only people that are interested in that anime are going to want this build. Then I have to go through how you are an ITX form factor enthusiast and how you like building gaming PCs with anime aesthetics, and how you only use PCs that you would, or you only build PCs that you would personally use. And then I have to read how this display comes with the build, which you can infer from the photo that it will. And then if I somehow remember, you got to remember that people's attention spans are really, really small. Then if I finally made it through all of that, then I get the message, go look at the video. And the video is the absolute rock star of this entire posting. You want people to look at this video as soon as humanly possible. So I would definitely change up the order of that. Definitely make your introduction much cheaper. I mean, let me go back to 100% here. You know, like I can't, like this is like way too small of text for me to use. I'm on a 1440p 27-inch monitor. I'm probably sitting here at like 120% most of the time. I'm not going to see that video unless if I make it through these 3 paragraphs, you know, and then get to this disclaimer here. I'm not going to see that video. So that I would definitely change as well. But I mean, overall, this is a really, really solid posting. And I'm sure commenter is fully aware of the concept that I wouldn't include this photo at all. That looks atrocious compared to everything else you did. I would assume that he knows he's going to be sitting on this build for a long time until somebody of this specific anime happens to be looking for this specific price range PC. If you find somebody that fits that target audience, then they're 100% going to love this, and you're going to make that sale because it's excellent for who you're trying to appeal to. But PC flipping businesses, they're going to be very, very slow if they make super specific PCs like this. But again, I don't know what the situation here. If he wants to build one PC per 6 months and he just wants to build a PC that he can take a whole bunch of cool photos for and start working on his video shooting and video editing skills and all that, then it's absolutely worth it. I have no idea. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Very, very solid. It's definitely a good one to end on. Very good job, commenter.